Katina from the Greek island of Paxos.
In this video, we're going to share travel tips that you need to know before coming to Greece this summer.
Hey Katina, what's the first thing we tell people before they come to Greece?
Wear good shoes.
Wearing appropriate footwear is like the thing that we see people fail at all the time. People like to wear flip-flops because they think they're going to the beach. What they don't realize is what materials like limestone and marble that cities are built out of here, not to mention while climbing mountains, or a lot of times you have to hike to a beach.
It's not always the easiest way to get places. I can't tell you how often we have seen people end up needing to just take their shoes off because they cannot make the trek in the flip-flops or the slides that they're wearing.
Or they break.
We've seen that many times. I also cannot tell you how many times I've watched people completely busted on the side streets.
I've seen people fall in Athens when climbing up to the Acropolis. It's very slick there. I've also seen people fall and break a bone hiking down the mountain in Santorini because they can't catch the car down. They don't want to take a donkey. And then you're stuck hiking down this mountain. And it's a lot more slippery than you think.
I've even made this mistake in Corfu where I was wearing the wrong type of sandals and I ended up sliding down an entire row of stairs. But definitely make sure that you have solid footwear. And all right, new location.
We find that wearing sandals in Greece is still very helpful, but you want to wear something that you can hike in, hike down to beaches, climb up mountains. Definitely do your research on what island you go to first, because that matters. But I wear Keens.
I wear Zero Sole.
A lot of people wear Chacos or Tivas, something like that, that just has grip on the bottom of your foot that you feel like you could hike to a beach in.
And women, really consider what you're packing when you are thinking about your shoes. Honestly, it's a lot of cobblestone, it's a lot of rocks that you're trying to walk over. And if your ankles are not used to that type of ground, it's not the best. I've watched so many women twisting their ankles or unable to walk places because they're wearing high heel stilettos or even sometimes the wedges. So if you're not used to walking on completely uneven surfaces, I'd suggest you just go ahead and don't bother bringing them and save that suitcase space for something else.
This next one might sound obvious, but make sure you wear sunscreen. We see way too many people, especially from countries who aren't used to being in the sun, forgetting to put it on.
And they are turning bright red within the first few days of their trip, and then they're not staying out of the sun. This is causing so much sun damage, and it just really pains me when I'm seeing people lobster red walking around.
And they're lobster red, and then they go out and sit in the day and they think, hey, I've only got this much sunshine, I need to take full advantage. But after you're red and burned, you really need to not only wear sunscreen, but cover up.
Sun poisoning is real, and it's honestly pretty dangerous. So really make sure that you're covering up. If you do happen to get a burn, my biggest suggestion is to get the Cora's After Sun Cooling Yogurt. It has been a lifesaver for me for over a decade, and honestly, ever since I've started using it, even if I do get a burn, I haven't peeled, and it turns into a nice tan.
Yeah, this isn't sponsored, but I mean, she's addicted to Cora's, so, you know. If you guys want to send us anything. You may have already done this, but make sure to do your research on when to fly versus when to take a ferry. We did a video on this a while back, but honestly, it just depends on where you go, how many islands you're going to, and the best way to get there. And it could be a mix of both for your trip. I know booking ferries can be a little bit intimidating as an American coming over because it's not something we're used to, but there are a lot of really credible, viable sites that you can go to find your tickets.
And there's some places that you have to take a ferry to. Sometimes the rides can be a little rough. So if you do get seasick, make sure that you are bringing something to help with that.
So something that goes hand in hand with that is when you're booking your trip, don't try to cram too much in. I think this is a big mistake people make when coming to Greece. And yeah, you see a lot of places, but if you're trying to go to 3 or 4 islands in a week, then you're probably doing it wrong. Take your time for meals in Greece. That's part of the culture. That's part of the reason you come here. You're not going to fully immerse yourself or even be able to experience what this place has to offer if you're trying to fit too many things in your agenda. And honestly, it might just be going to one island. You can go to Crete and spend 2-3 weeks and you'll still not see it all. You could go to neighboring islands and take ferries like Paros and Naxos. or just any Cycladic islands, really.
Keep in mind that sometimes, especially with ferries, the time of departure might change. So you really do have to be flexible. So give yourself that time. And really, you don't want to spend your entire vacation here traveling from one place to another.
The other thing about being flexible due to the weather is waves and wind. So this also goes for picking what beach you want to go to. I think a lot of times as an American, we try to control our vacation and say, on this day we're doing this, and this day we're doing this. And honestly, you have to be a bit flexible. So there's a Poseidon website that I use that shows you what days and how bad the wind and waves are going to be and what direction they come from. Like on Milos, the northern waves come in, and some of the best places to see, like Santorini, you can't swim at all because it's very dangerous. Time your beach days appropriately.
And again, stay flexible.
Another one is something we learned by living here, and that is avoid the beach on Sundays if you can. And that's because all the locals are off and the beaches get very crowded.
Yeah, those days honestly are a little bit better to go into the villages or to go do some more sightseeing that might actually not have as many people because they're all going to the beach.
Yeah, like in Crete, for example, the villages get really busy on Sunday, but it's because everywhere is open and tables are overflowing. They do this Anticristo meat, which is a specialty thing. So it's cool to see. But if you want to avoid those crowds, you could also go into town.
Another thing that you really want to consider is renting a car.
Most islands in Greece, you can't really see well without a car. There are a lot that have buses, but this means that you're limited in the places that you could go, but also the times that you will go. On Symi, there's actually not a lot to see on the island, so I could understand not renting a car. But Katina and I were there. We took a car and a boat ferry, and it was actually great because we visited Archangel St. Michael's Monastery, which is a popular monastery. We had it all to ourselves, and as we left, a ferry came in, dropping off a couple hundred people, and this happens on beaches all the time. So having that flexibility with a car not only allows you to see more things, be more flexible with your time, but also have a more pleasant experience.
And some islands you are able to hire a driver, but keep in mind that can get expensive. Also, many places you are able to get ATVs or mopeds, but do keep in mind that it is a bit more dangerous to take these types of transportations, especially if you're not used to driving them. And four-wheelers really do give some people a false sense of security since you're on four wheels, but they do have a tendency of flipping over.
Yeah, that's actually something that we've heard from locals. I think people think that they're safe just because they're rented out. And in some islands, that's very common, but it's usually the top cause of death for travelers in Greece.
And if you do decide to go down the option of an ATV or a moped, please make sure that you're wearing your helmet. I know it's hot, I know you want your hair to look good, but it's really important to keep your head and your brain safe in case something were to happen.
Also, along the lines of avoiding crowds, do a boat tour. You definitely get what you pay for with us.
No matter what, a boat tour is fantastic. And depending on your budget, really will determine what you're able to do. But again, the experience you get is the experience you pay for. We've seen so many of these boat tours coming into different places and coves, packed full of people, all trying to see, all trying to get the best spot, and it is very difficult. These boats are also bigger, so they can't get into some of the smaller caves and some of the smaller places. Also, they're not going to be able to stop in most places. So if you are able to charter a smaller boat, you'll be able to get more locations, get into more locations, and just have a far more pleasant experience.
Honestly, it's a little bit different on every island. So just do your research. And if you get a chance, see what the boats look like in the harbor the day before or a couple of days before, because you can kind of see how crowded they can get. Sometimes you can book like a catamaran and you might share it with like 10 to 15 people. Or sometimes you can book a boat to yourself with a private captain, or even rent one and take it out on your own. It's a very slow one if you don't have a boating license, but it still gets you from A to B if you don't have far to go.
But definitely take a boat tour.
Yeah.
It's really the best way to see most of the islands.
It's one of my favorite things in Greece. Pack light, but smart.
Make sure that you're really packing a lot of mix and match options. You really don't want to have to carry a huge piece of luggage or more around Greece with you. I honestly prefer to pack in a cotopaxi that I can put on my back. So that way I know that my luggage is always going to arrive with me wherever I go, and that I can make it upstairs through cobblestone. And personally, it's just a lot easier than lugging something really heavy around that you might typically overpack.
Yeah, and we'll have an Amazon shopping list sharing some of these things coming really soon, so that you can look at this stuff and say, hey, yeah, these are good ideas that I can use and things that I can buy to help my travels in Greece. The thing to keep in mind is there's a lot of old towns that you can't drive in. So a lot of times you're pulling your luggage through cobblestone streets, sometimes up hills, mountains, stairs, and a lot of places don't have elevators. You might be in the third, fourth floor and have to carry something up a spiral staircase. So having it on your back is a lot easier than rolling it if that's an option for you.
Also, when traveling, make sure you save a lot of space. Greece is full of great shopping, excellent stores, great quality clothes. So sometimes just bring a few things and plan on buying some clothes while you're here. I guarantee they will not disappoint you.
Another big thing is saving money on your phone bill. Most international carriers now allow an international day pass option, and that's around $10 a day. So at that price, if you're here for a week, that can really add up. Local eSIMs are actually extremely cheap. They run specials every month, so I can't tell you exactly what they cost, but a lot of the time you would spend 10 euros, 15, 20 euros a month for unlimited calls and data.
Also, make sure that you talk with your cell provider before you leave for Greece to see what your plan offers.
Another thing is how you spend money. Get a travel card. Also, ATMs. That's a really tricky one. A lot of them really trick you in the way that they ask questions, and Greece operates in cash, so you always need it.
Make sure that you're always declining the conversion rate. Always get it in euros, and please just don't click yes for convert in your own currency.
Very true. Same goes for if a restaurant or a shop, when using your card, ask you if you want to be charged in US dollars or euros or British pounds. Always choose the local currency where you're at. So if you're anywhere in Europe that's using euros, go with euros.
And always make sure that you're carrying cash on you. While places are required to take credit card, the Greeks really do prefer to operate in cash. And pro tip, a lot of times there's a different cash price as opposed to the credit card price. The cash price is cheaper.
And lastly, it always helps to learn a few Greek phrases before you come. And it's not required. They're very kind here. And in tourist places, they're going to speak English better than almost any country I've been in Europe.
But the Greeks really do appreciate when you try to learn the language. They will welcome you. They get very excited when they hear you even just trying. So just the few basics will get you a long way.
So, afaristopoli for watching this video, and kalisasmera. Have a great day.
Make sure that you like and subscribe and hit that bell button to make sure that you're not missing any of our videos or any future tips that we're going to provide for you.
Yassas.
Kalimera, olimera. Give it a second. Fan clap, fan clap, fan clap, fan clap.
Okay.
Okay.